Sometimes the best succulents are ignored because they're so trouble-free that they've become quite common. Here's one I love and why, plus exciting news about it. I'm Deborah Lee Baldwin, author of 3 books about succulent plants. Fairy Crassula or Crassula multicava is a great succulent ground cover for shade. It doesn't compete with trees or shrubs for nutrients because it's shallow-rooted. Flower stalks, when bejeweled with star-like blooms, are beautiful. It needs almost no care. It's disease-free. Yes, even snails don't seem to bother it. It plays well with other succulents. Fairy-like flowers sort of dance among the stronger, bolder succulents. It's pretty in pots and as a filler in hanging baskets. It's a great beginner succulent that starts easily from cuttings. Cuttings are common at plant swaps. If you see it in a neighbor's yard, they'll happily give you some. It creates soft-looking mounds of dark green that look good up close or from a distance. It conceals messy fallen leaves. These fall into the plants and disappear. Fallen leaves decompose, creating rich leaf mulch. It prevents weeds from germinating by robbing them of sunlight. It helps soil erosion during rainstorms. Tolerates difficult conditions, poor soil, deep shade, and steep terrain. It appreciates regular water, but gets by without it. The news regarding this plant, if you tend to dismiss it as boring, there is a newly released cultivar that has red on the underside of its leaves. Nowhere near as common as the solid green variety, but it is becoming more available. Not to be confused with Crassula strayii, which looks a lot similar. Go to the Crassula page of my website, deborahleebaldwin.com, to see photos of all these, and then you can compare them. The most fascinating fact about fairy Crassula is how it spreads. As flower stalks elongate, they produce itty-bitty plantlets that get heavier as they grow. When dime-sized, they touch the ground and take root. This happens far enough away from the mothership that they don't compete for light and nutrients. Certainly, it spreads, but slowly. It's never been a problem. In fact, it has a lovely way of filling gaps. I've grown it since the 90s under oaks on a steep slope in North San Diego County inland, Zone 9B. There was concern about erosion, weed growth. Cuttings of fairy Crassula did great, but they weren't quick. So whenever they'd start to get established, I'd take cuttings from them and start them in another part of the slope. And this is what it looks like now. You know, a lot of people will say, I wouldn't have that plant. It takes over. If you have ideal conditions, if you're close to the coast and you don't get frost and you don't get desert heat, it can get to the point where it seems like it's taking over. But no big deal because it's easy to pull out. So if you can grow nasturtiums, and this is the only place in my garden where I can because they don't like those extremes, you can grow fairy Crassula. So I decided it would be really pretty in this pot growing around the base of Agave bracteosa, which is also a shade succulent. I'm using the tip of my clippers to poke a hole. That's all there is to it. That bright green of the agave will contrast with the reddish tones of the leaves, the burgundy, and also somewhat conceal that rather ugly white pot. For more information on using succulents in gardening, go to deborahleebaldwin.com, get my books, especially Designing with Succulents. Watch my other YouTube videos. I have well over 100 with more than 5 million views. And subscribe.